This is just random something I just felt like I want to talk about and record so I can go back and listen to it myself. But with my translation that I just did, it was speaking of trusting yourself. And it do seem simple, but it's not always the simplest thing to do because sometimes you can become paranoid, if that makes sense. Definitely if you're new to it, which to me, I'm quite new to actually speaking, acting on my emotions of what I'm feeling from other energy when it comes to trusting yourself. Because sometimes, how do I want to explain that? It kind of go on with being on guard a little bit, honestly. That came out too. But it still go back with trusting yourself. Like, even with the way I want to explain it, still go back with trusting yourself because you can feel energy and you can have other evidence that the energy you be feeling be accurate because guidance from the universe. But some people will tell you you're wrong or you're crazy or you're just making that up. That's why you got to be able to trust yourself. And I'm learning, be around people who's honest with you, if that makes sense. But it still goes back to trusting yourself. You have to trust yourself in this aspect. My nose feel like it's about to start going. But I just felt the need to voice that aspect. It's not the simplest. Like for me, I can have communications with people all the time in my doggone head. I recently did it, but it may have came off crazy because like they may not even recognize that, or how can I explain that in a different way? I feel a different example I want to give. I don't know. I hope it makes sense, but sometimes you hold other people's breadcrumbs, if that makes sense. Like you have to speak how you're feeling because it helps the next person. Like you gotta trust that whatever you say is not stupid. Like you're always right. You just gotta be confident.com that you could never go the wrong way. That's just what that's feeling like. But it's not always the funnest thing to do when you, at least for me, I'm using this is myself personally. I'm realizing I know the universe never ever steers me in the wrong direction. I'm normally always right, unless I'm second guessing myself. That's why I give myself a percentage out of not being just too cocky. I see 95 times out of 100, I'm correct. And when that other half, it's because I'm second guessing myself. And it's mainly because of the people I'm around who just know I'll be right, but they still just be like, no, you're crazy, you're delusional, you're hallucinating, you know. Which I'm learning to appreciate those words honestly, because it's like it's true when you work with the eternal realm, you really are hallucinating, or you might be delusional because you are recognizing it, But the lack of awareness and appreciation for it can make you second guess yourself, if that makes sense. At least for myself personally. I don't have too many people that operate on the eternal realm aspect of understanding. So I literally have to trust myself, and it's like, thank God I love myself, so I normally trust myself. But meeting new people, traveling out, and operating, it can be a little different, just because you dealt. That's just what the cards freaking said. You dealt with something like that before, so you're scared to open up as to what you naturally do, which would help other people, if that makes sense. And that I can understand that because I'm kind of the same way. I normally don't speak too much, honestly. That could be a reason why I'm having a hard time projecting. So I'm normally quiet, honestly. I communicate energetically very well, but verbally I don't always do it. And I do notice that sometimes people like to send me signs just to try me, and it's just like sometimes I don't act on it. It's like I'm not a puppet, you know. Like actually verb it to me, communicate with me. Like I am a human still, but they always want me to work off the eternal aspect, and it gets annoying sometimes. But I guess that comes with it, huh? It gets annoying. it's just for me. It helps build trust. You know, it's like I can already do it, but it's like don't just make me feel like I'm a doggone puppet. Like that's just weird to me. Um, like a light switch. You know, like you say you do eternal work, so you should just always know everything. I sometimes don't. Sometimes I know within that moment or later on. Like that's the intriguing part. It's just like people. I tell them what I do, and they just like, so tell you my fortune. It don't work that way. But now that you're seeking, I'm sure it'll come, and I'll be able to you, or I'll be able to tell you, or somebody else will be because you're seeking now. But it's not like I am just hopped in your brain and I can just take it, even though it can be that way. But it's normally not that way. I normally know within the moment I need to know, or later on, which goes back to when I need to know it. So that's just that. Um, I think that's it in that aspect when it comes to trusting yourself, moving forward, self. Stay open, and what could be on guard mean? I just explained that I still feel the same way when it comes to myself as into being on guard. Learning to trust my vulnerability. That's one that get tricky a little bit when it comes to opening up, but being on guard at the same time. Because people's intentions ain't always so genuine, but it could help build confidence for you if you're not really caring about other people's opinion. You're just able to speak freely. At least that's how I'm learning to operate. Because I really told somebody that I was standing up under a bridge, and I really wasn't embarrassed to say it. 'Cause it's like it's true. You know, I learned a lot in that aspect. Not to brag about it, but it's just like it wasn't the funnest thing. Stuff happens, you know. And I was really grateful to have this job. Now it's like you wouldn't think that things can just progress in that type of aspect quickly as it did. So I didn't mind sharing that, but if I didn't learn certain aspects, I probably wouldn't have shared that because I knew people would judge me and just be like, you know, you're a bad person, or you know, something of that nature. I don't know. People would say intriguing things, honestly. But now I'm just to the point where I just really don't care. I've been through so freaking much, but I learned so much in those aspects that I don't mind sharing. But that's just an example because I feel like normally I wouldn't have told nobody that, but it's true. It's something that I experienced, and I want to say I intentionally did it, but I feel like that was part of a lesson. Honestly, like even the way that happened that freaking day, like my body just literally projected right on up to that dog up under that bridge. I swear to God, like I was walking and then my body just went shoop, and I stayed there. I didn't even move out of that area. It was intriguing. I stayed there like a dog on Buddha. And normally I couldn't even sleep if I'm outside. I fell to sleep. I kept waking up because it was cold and stuff, but I really was out. That whole situation, it just was like, that had to be one of the most intriguingest lessons, I swear. Because it was cold. It was cold. I had to even tell myself, stay positive, because I was out there in a hoodie and some dog on tights in the freezing cold with no coat, no cover, no pillow, no nothings. But I really learned a lot. I received a lot of information. Like it's something for a person that's like me, who naturally pick up energy very quickly. Being above a highway is like the best aspect ever. Like I really would go back and visit. You know, probably when it's warmer, as I said before. It's a nice little chill out, and you really can receive a lot. Like literally, that's like the best traveling aspect ever. There's so many different energies rolling through from different places, different states, and everything. And all you gotta do is just sit there and be patient. Like it's the most intriguingest aspect of a lesson that I feel like I ever could have learned. Um, And just understanding other people's aspect that has into how other people do that. There be times I be walking and I see people outside just laid out, and I be like, "How are you outside sleep?" Some things you just have to experience to understand it. Um, I guess it's a good way to save money in a sarcastic, honest way. Pardon my laughter, but just on a serious side. Um, because I was just talking about that. Rent is a lot. That's why I don't have my own place right now. I'm staying with somebody. Like, it's crazy to survive out here. And I noticed they are working off an aspect as into they want people to stay together, like a family building. Understand? I learned the concept as into. Well, I learned this when I stayed in hotels. I spent most of my tax money staying in hotels because that was like the best thing for me. Like that's something that I feel like I couldn't regret because that's really what I wanted to do. That was like a I want to say once in a lifetime aspect, but I know I would go back and do it if I wanted some privacy or something. But just something I really wanted to do, honestly. And I was able to do it and I enjoyed it. Um, Cause like once I get my own place, I'm not gonna be in a hotel. Why would I even need to get a hotel for? That's why I said once in a lifetime aspect is just be able to hop around hotel to hotel. It was fun. Um, Even though I really wanted to get on the plane and take off, I didn't feel the need. I felt not to do that at that moment, but that's another time aspect. Um, and it was an aspect as into having where would I want to invest my money if I actually had a home, and what type of areas of a lifestyle that I want. For my lifestyle, I really would live in a hotel. Like, I just would. That's why I keep saying I want a studio apartment or a tiny apartment because just my lifestyle fits that aspect. Um, but it taught me about how community living, shared living, it's the one that I'm missing. Community living, shared living. I feel like it's another one. Shelter living. Um, just a regular family aspect living. It's all the same. Even hotel living. I'm staying with a bunch of other random people. Yes, I have my own room, but it's like there's a bunch of other people around me. It's the same aspect as community living. You're not living by yourself. You have a bunch of people living with you. Family aspect, whether it's like mom, sibling, cousins, family aspect that way. It's not just you, it's a bunch of other freaking people too. Shelter living, I've done shelter living. It's not just you, it's a bunch of random people that, you have to cope with, like a family. Um, so it all remind me of the same aspect. Like there really wasn't no separation, even though people like to separate. Like there really isn't. You're always with somebody. That's the intriguing part. Um, which really got me because I really don't like to live with people. I do things way different. I probably would if I actually met somebody where it just made sense, but at the moment it don't. I just really like living by myself, very far ducked off. Like my neighbors are like 10 miles down the block. Um, but that probably will change eventually just because right people, I think I would enjoy living with them, but in the meantime, I like living by myself. It's kind of hard to explain because it's like somebody who keeps saying they want friends. You know, I have a hard time being upset with myself for liking to be by myself. If that makes sense. And it's like it make me feel bad. It's like the universe. I keep hearing, they give you what you want. You keep saying you ain't got no friends. You're not gonna get no friends. But it's like, hmm. Thinking of a way to explain that. I trust myself. Like, I have to be by myself a good amount of the time to receive the way I need to. Like, recently, I really don't want to speak on work, but I have to just because it's like they keep wanting me to work with people, but I have a hard time because I recently fell at work, and it was intriguing because if you see me at work, you see I try my hardest to keep the floor from being like cluttered. But there's people around me who purposely make the floor cluttered, and they make me fall because their lack of self awareness to surroundings and hazard zones was. Um, but it's easier when I do it by myself, just because I naturally am a clean as go person. I naturally operate that way. Um, Other people just don't. It drives me crazy. And it's not to come off in a judgmental form. It's just I think what gets me in that aspect too, which makes me clean up so much, is it's a food based aspect. It's like, how is it dirty in food based aspect? That don't it don't go together. It just don't. I think that's my main problem that I have in that aspect, which makes me clean so much with them. They probably think somebody today was like you're trying to get employee of the month, and it's just like I wouldn't mind it, but no, I'm just a good worker, you know. And this is we work with food all day on day. We should have nothing but a clean environment. Um, but they make me seem like I'm doing too much, like I think I'm their boss or something. You know, like how dare you wanted to clean up? You know, how dare you want to do everything all right? And it make me seem like a bad person, even though I'm doing good. They always make me seem like I'm doing something wrong. It'd be so intriguing. Like, you're too much of a good worker. I even told my supervisor that. I gotta learn to be a lazy worker. If it's hard to do that, I'd rather be at home sleep. Then I come off as lazy. It's intriguing. But who was I talking about working with people? I don't know. It's like I don't really purposely separate myself. It's just naturally that way. So it's hard to be upset with myself when I know I receive what I need to in that aspect. But I would do. Like, I met a girl. We didn't even exchange numbers, but she said she wanted to hang out because she was like the same as me, honestly. Always at home, got a child, so just always, taking care of a child or just at home. And I thought that was pretty cool, so I want to get out sometime and do things. But, I don't know. I just gotta learn how to do that, to juggle that aspect. I don't honestly know. I don't know. I don't know how to make friends. I love myself too much as my own friend. That's a little sarcasm, but seriously. Um, I don't trust people. I just don't. That's something I have to work on. Um, just because if you work off energy like me, you already know what a person's intentions are for the most part. You can still feed into it, but you just will already know. And people intentions ain't always accurate. Like I learned something recently that for a while I thought I was lying about, which it turned out as to my instincts um, was protecting me, and I didn't even know. I watched one of my translators yesterday, and she was talking about the ego. How it protects you and things of that nature. But before, I had to Bae/God one day that I was at the spa, and I went and I looked. I was upstairs in the bathroom, but I turned it into a spa. If you know me, I'm always somewhere in the bathroom or making some concoction, like I'm at a spa all the time. But I went and I looked up a spa that I said I was at, but I really was in the bathroom. Actually pampering myself. It wasn't a lie technically, but it wasn't a lie. But not realizing the person that he's connected to works at a doggone spa. That's why I said I was at the spa. So it just was so intriguing how that all went to freaking together, and I didn't even realize it, but I did at the same time. That's the intriguing part. Like I already know things. It's just, do you listen to it, or do you just try to, no, that can't be accurate? Because I actually showed up on her one day, and I didn't even think too much as to how did I even get to her. It was that aspect, and so I picked it up, and I popped up. I'm a good pop upper. I'm a good popper upper. How your non-driving self know how to pop up? I'm just being a little sarcastic. I had a whipped in. But just that whole aspect as to, I really felt bad because I felt like, why did I even have to lie in that aspect? I could have just said I'm in the bathroom, giving myself a mud bath, because that's what I was doing. I was taking a coffee bath, which to me looked like mud. So, but I went and looked it up. But it's just, I said that because it wasn't honest with me, and I knew where the person he was connected with at. It was like shadows communicating aspect. Like, you tried to trick me. I'm at the spa. Who's at the spa, sir? But some people don't call nail shops the spa, but normally it's a spa/nail situation. Even though I realize spas don't even do the fancy type of stuff that I like to do, even a mud bath aspect, which is a tragedy. But things like that just be so intriguing when I go back and think as into how I just naturally know things without even knowing that I know, if that makes sense. Like, I always know what I need to know, but it's like, were you honest with me from the jump? Like, that's one of the big problems. People don't be honest with me from the jump. But I already know. So it makes me normally be by myself. Because I trust myself. I go and gave a whole bunch of tea on. Maybe I shouldn't have put this tea in this milk. That's what I was drinking. I had some milk and I put some lavender tea in it. It's supposed to help me go to sleep. It's sleep lavender tea. I can show you. So now I'm going to drop the dog on tea. This big low benefits. But I just feel like it goes with the energy as to trusting yourself honestly and being on guard. You're safe in the light. It seemed like that all the same energy. But I recently thought about that honestly, and it's just like, that is so intriguing. Because I really did wonder how I recognized who she was once I got there. It's like you just recognize certain energy. It's like, how can I explain that? I want to say when you have intercourse with somebody, it's like the aspect when they say they get clingy, they feel entitled. It's one of those aspects, like, that kind of sound creepy, like you're clingy. Like, not technically. I did do some intriguing things, but I'm not super clingy. I like space, but how can I explain that? You just naturally get the downloads where they've been at, who they've been with. At least I do, anyway. That's just how that aspect went. And then once I got there, I recognized that, oh, I recognize this energy. It's just like, you've been with my spouse. I recognize the energy. But she wasn't a hider of it. in a metaphor of a way, if that makes sense. But next time I went there to get my nails done, she was a little standoffish, a little bit. I don't know what that was about. But we ain't never talked again in that aspect, so I don't know. I gave her my number, so I thought it would be nice to hang out sometime. Like, we hugged and everything. It was a nice meeting, a meet and greet, whatever that means. But that's just how that situation went. That was years ago, honestly. Not new information. It's quite old. This was kind of in the beginning of not a beginning, but it just made me think of that when people are not honest with me and how I just already be knowing things without them even telling me. That was one of those aspects, and then how I respond back to it. I think that's what got me, is how I respond back. As to, I'm in a spa. Let me find which one. I don't know which one, but I'm at one of these spas. But then I actually drove right to the actual spa. Like, I'm good with that. Like, very good. Like, I can walk myself somewhere or drive myself somewhere perfectly. If I use navigation, I get confused. Like, that's a real true fact. Each time I do it, I get confused. Or if I'm with somebody. If I'm with somebody, I get confused too. Like, I can take myself there. If I'm with somebody else, it's like my guard go down. And I get lost as into what direction to go in. It's intriguing. Like, I recently experienced that with Allah. It was intriguing. I know you probably was like, oh my God, what is wrong with you? You not know where you're going? Like, I don't know. I totally feel lost because I'm with you. So I expect you to know where you're going. And for me to always remind me of marriage energy. Were you able to put your guard down? Because, it's supposed to be a balance as to you. Apparently, you know where you're going. I don't really need my universe guidance that much, if that makes sense. It's just what always happens to me. That's why I normally stay by myself, because I can navigate very well by myself. Unless I'm with people who understands that concept, where I can, Shroom. I feel like I'm just use body language, sign language. Like, come down just a little bit and then navigate. It's the only way to explain it. Other than that, I got to be by myself. That's what I enjoy. I feel like I've been talking and talking, but it's okay. I'm gonna go back and watch, learn something new or something. But I'm just enjoying talking to you because I know you on the other side, listening, taking down notes and things, getting little chuggles, aspects. How did you know that aspect? Things of that nature. I've been actually communicating with you. I've been writing. I've been using paper instead of like recording on my phone or using my phone. I learned that concept in jail and I actually liked it a lot. I was doing it before jail, honestly, but when I wasn't able to have my phone, I just was writing things down, and then I realized how it was playing out within the moment, or how I got out and it was already happening on the outside too. But I was doing that before I went to jail. I used to write in my journals all the time to you, like our communication. I would write it down. I had lots of just journals, but I got rid of them. I got to a point where I ran across something where it was saying, do you not trust yourself while you keep notes? And I was like, that is true. Do I not trust myself? And on top of that, I know I was going to be losing my place. And I was like, you know what? I might just go ahead and get rid of this stuff and instead of trying to carry all this stuff. So I took it to the cemetery and left it at the cemetery. That's somewhere I like to be, so it just made sense to leave it there. But yeah, even when I was doing that, I was realizing how it was playing out within a moment, and then it would happen again. Like, I would write things before it happened. So it was so intriguing to me. That's what had me keep going, how it would play out. It's like how people say, write it down to manifest it. It was like that aspect. Like, it would happen. I can wake up and write my whole doggone day down. And it happens. Like I just wrote my whole life out really fast. Or it happened, or I'm writing it down before it even happened. Which I just said that, I can write my whole life down. Like, for months that come aspect. So it just was intriguing. I learned to do that. I guess that's what happens when you can't physically have communication. You learn how to communicate from a distance. Even though I've always been able to do it, when you want to reach somebody, you will find a way to reach them. That's what I've learned in that aspect. You will find a way. I say I've always been able to do because I always knew things. It's just, as I had just said, until when you want to reach somebody, you want to talk to somebody, like physically, that you actually love somebody, because I can't really say I love too many people. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. I don't dislike people, but I really can't say it's too many people that I love. Which I love myself, so I guess it's fair to say I love people, if that makes sense. But I know I'm a reflection of people. That's why I'm always in the mirror. Like, I love having mirrors around me. Like right now I got 3 mirrors on the side of me and I can see things around me. Like right now I'm looking in the mirror looking at a mirror. That's the intriguing part. I'm looking in the mirror looking at a mirror. But for me it's just being aware of surroundings. And like I say, be kind because you are a reflection. It's just like, if you over there doing something naughty, trust me, it's gonna repeat in somebody else's aspect. You might not like it. It's that same type of aspect. They call that karma. It just plays out differently for people. It's not always the same aspect, but it's the same aspect, if that makes sense. And it's not like I intentionally do it. Like I want to be a nice person. Sometimes I do, I correct myself, but it's not like I naturally think that way. I just naturally operate that way. That's why yesterday, I feel like I'm just on a talkie road, talkie machine. I was saying maybe I'm too humble. Like that might be a true statement, honestly. Not in a super bad way, but an unbeneficial way that I'm so humble. It really comes off as a pushover a little bit. But when I say that, a little bit more outspoken, it could come off cocky in an aspect just because I just naturally know things. Even with me being humble, people still be surprised with things that I know. You know, I keep hearing the word arrogant. I don't want to become one of those, but it may come off that way. But I feel like I still will remain humble because I naturally am that, but I'm very humble with it, if that makes sense. But I did recognize maybe I'm just too humble. I don't know. But I can work on it, which I'm not going to have a choice but to work on it, to be able to speak up more. So that should be an intriguing aspect, honestly. I think I want to grab a card from middle, then I'm going to wrap it up. Just because. That's so awesome, Lentes. Get the Ace of Pentacles. That's a manifestation. The universe is giving you a chance to manifest. The universe is giving a lot right now. I tell you no lie. What other card came out? What did the universe give? I think a chance to. That was another manifestation. Another manifestation. I think it was. Yeah. That you're gonna run right into your spouse. It was a manifestation. This is a manifestation. This is a star card. This feels like standing out energy. Like you're manifesting to be able to stand out, which that kind of goes with what I just was saying about not being so humble, but humble. Like, 'cause you gotta be outspoken, which is gonna make you come off as cocky, arrogant. But the universe seems like it's giving that. Then you can go to the other side. Like right now, over here on Humble Zone, I'm gonna go to the other side. Ah. And it got the 1 on it too. That's a new start. I feel like the hero ram, this is definitely stand out. You're gonna stand out. I'm gonna stand out. That's awesome. And thank you, Hope Bunchums. That's kind of intriguing, honestly, because I was talking to some people and I was telling them who I was. And they was like, yeah. I was saying on my story blends. And they was like, oh yeah, I seen you before. And I'm just like, you have? Then he was like, yeah, on YouTube. I was like, how? So cool. Intriguing. Hope you liked and subscribed. Just because people watch but they don't like and subscribe, that helps. I gotta start telling them to do that too, huh? That'd be nice. That'd be nice. I need to go lay my little tushy down in the morning.